water, please refrain from eating, drinking, or smoking during our trip. Now we're going to start our trip by crossing over the Bronx River here. It's approximately 23 miles long, the only freshwater river running through the heart of the city, and it does provide a habitat for ducks, turtles, fish, and migrating birds. Now, as we come across the river here, we approach our first meadow. We're on the lookout for two species of deer, the axis deer and the barrasinga, as well as the black buck antelope. However, it looks like they've all moved over the hill to the left, so we'll catch up to them in about 8 to 10 minutes or so. What you will see is the national bird of India, the peafowl. Now, did you know that only males are called peacocks? Females are called peahens. Males can be distinguished from the females by their bright royal blue heads, whereas females have green necks. And the males are also quite well known for those long, beautiful tail feathers they use to attract females during mating season. However, they do shed those feathers after they have mated. We just finished mating season, so you're not going to see many males in the park today with those long, beautiful tail feathers. Now, as we come around this corner, we're approaching a couple of small buildings here that represent an important conservation story involving those barrasinga deer we're going to catch up to in a few minutes. However, if you take a quick look out front, you might notice a couple of small red deer. These are full-grown Indian muntjac deer. Hopefully they're going to be out. If not, we're going to catch up to some more in a few minutes. They're also known as barking deer. There's one laying right in the shade there along the fence line. Also known as barking deer because when they're scared or afraid, they'll bark like a dog. Here comes the male with his antlers here. Now those two shacks do represent that conservation story involving the barrasinga deer.
In 1970, there were estimated to be only 66 of the barrasinga deer remaining in central India. But this population was saved by the cooperation of the local Indian community. Like the shacks you see here, there were many small farms using space in and around India's Kanha National Park. These people were coming into contact with the deer and the tigers that were also living there. Through cooperation with the Indian government, local communities agreed to relocate their villages. By moving, the farmers still had land to farm, but the tigers and their prey got more room to roam.
Now, we all know that animals that are extinct no longer exist, like dinosaurs and dodo birds. The animals coming up right in front of us now were on the verge of extinction, and in fact, the Mongolian wild horse was extinct in nature and could only be found in captivity. Now, we do have a herd of 7.5 horses for you today. Our half, his name is Neron. And he's only 5 months old. He's actually coming up right in front of me now, so everybody else is about to see him. He's right here. He's 5 months old. He's the only male on display today. All the others are adult females. Now, the Mongolian wild horse is the only true species of wild horse living today. There are genetic differences between them and domestic horses, and their physical appearance differs as well. They have a stockier build, shorter legs, and an erect mane, missing a forelock, which is that piece of the domestic horse's mane that falls over their eyes and their forehead. Now, these animals also have a recorded history going back thousands of years.
The first accounts of Mongolian wild horses come from rock engravings, paintings, and even cave drawings that date back more than 20,000 years. And the first written accounts were from Tibet, sometime around 900 AD. But these horses remained largely unknown and unnamed to the Western world for many years. During an expedition to Central Asia in 1879, a famous Russian explorer and naturalist, Colonel Nikolai Przewalski, encountered the horse in Western Mongolia. Because of his discovery, this species is also known as Przewalski's horse.
Now, captive breeding of Mongolian wild horses began way back in 1901 with a group of just 28 animals. The Bronx Zoo received its first herd of horses in 1902, and we've maintained it ever since. As a matter of fact, the animals you saw today are direct descendants from those breeders here at the zoo 114 years ago. Now, recently, there have been some reintroductions of Mongolian wild horses back into parts of Mongolia and China using animals from both North American and Asian.
Ого, как высоко,
Now, while researchers might have a hard time finding the animals they want to study out in the wild, you all are in luck today. You have myself with my partner Kiwan in the back. We're going to help you guys out. We're going to pinpoint the locations of our animals for you, even if they're not out in plain sight. Not too hard to do if you want to try on your own, though. Just think of where you'd go on a day like today. If you're looking for a shady spot, a quiet place to rest, or maybe just get in a little grazing time. Now, as we approach our next exhibit area, we are going to be on the lookout for two species of endangered animals, the brow-antlered deer and the gaur. Now, typically, if you look out to the fence and just keep following your line of sight to the right, they like to hang out in the middle area to the right side of the enclosure. Now, the brow-antlered deer are a medium-sized light brown colored deer. that get their name from the looks of the male's antlers that curve back from on top of their eyes, and it makes it look like they have a bushy eyebrow. Now, they are considered vulnerable in their native Cambodia as they continue to lose their natural habitat to farmland. Now, wild herds there have had to resort to feeding on those farmers' crops. And while they do have that food source, it doesn't provide the nutrients they need. So essentially, they're eating yet still starving to death at the same time. They're going to be way off to the right. I can see them now, but before that you're going to see the gaur, very large dark brown animals. They are the largest species of wild cattle in the world. A mature male can stand up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder, be up to 10 feet long, and weigh up to 2,000 pounds. So with their large size and impressive horns, they can fend off the attack from most kinds of animals, including tigers, but they are threatened due to the loss of their natural habitat and diseases they catch from domestic cattle. Now with the gaur, if their horns curve in at the top, they're a female. If they go straight back, they're a male. We have 3 juvenile males out there, so see if you can spot them. It's a drastic difference between their horns and the female. Now both these species have been benefited from species survival plans here at the zoo.
Here at the zoo, we help gaur and brow antler deer and many other species by participating in cooperative zoo management programs called species survival plans. The name says it all. The plans aim to help these animals survive. Zoos across the country work together to maintain genetically diverse populations of rare and endangered species.
Now it's easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo lies in the heart of an urban environment, but the noise you might hear behind us right now is actually traffic on the Bronx River Parkway. The large fence in front of us is used to reduce the noise of that traffic for the animals here at the zoo. And that's especially important for the next one we're going to meet. Now once again, just a friendly reminder, we need to remain seated at all times. Keep all hands, feet, loose objects, small children inside your car. We're going to meet Yuri. He's right here in front of us. He's walking up the footpath. So as you come across the fence line, just look straight down. Might have to look up to the right a little bit. He's walking away from us. Now again, this is Yuri. He's a 5-year-old male Siberian tiger. He weighs 400 pounds, but he's not full grown yet. He's going to gain another 350 pounds, and he'll be about 11 feet long from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail, and a total weight of right around 750 pounds when he's full grown. Now tigers will hunt a variety of animals, but they prefer to eat wild pig and medium-sized deer. They will gorge themselves on a fresh kill, eating up to 40 pounds of meat in one sitting. Now to put that in perspective, that's like you or I sitting down to eat a meal of 160 hamburgers all by ourselves. Now after a meal of that size, a tiger typically won't eat again for several days. Now you'll notice he's in here all by himself. That's because males are extremely territorial. They don't get along well with others, even if they're related. So we do have to display our males one at a time. And he's probably going to turn around in just a second and head back towards the other way. There he goes. Now, unfortunately, all tigers are endangered today, and it's estimated there's only about 3,000 Siberian tigers left in the wild, with only about 1,000 of those being breeding females. Now we're going to say goodbye to Yuri. We're coming across the backside of that brow antler deer gaur exhibit. We're going to have a brow antler deer lying right against the fence here. He's just checking us out as we come down the hill. There's the gaur at the top of the hill. Some more brow antler deer. We're also going to be crossing back behind that first meadow where everybody was hiding from us, so let's see who we can find here. Now if you see a spotted deer species, these are the axis deer, native to India and Sri Lanka. We've actually had them here at the Bronx Zoo since the zoo opened in 1899, out there laying against the fence. And a little bit further out, you see some little brown and white animals. These are full-grown black buck antelope. And then those large honey-colored animals moving to the right through there, those are the Barasinga we heard the conservation story about. Now Barasinga means 12-tined in Hindi, and they get that name because a male can have 12 to 14 points on his antlers. Now the Barasinga, also known as swamp deer, can be found living in marshy areas and parts of northern India. Now as we come around this next corner, imagine a pig that has tufts erupting through the top of its snout and curving back towards its eyes. This is known as a babirusa. Now babirusa means pig deer in the Malay language, and they get that name because those tusks resemble deer antlers. Now as we approach our first enclosure here, we're going to see some very tall bamboo. We're going to look through the bamboo, and hopefully we're going to catch a glimpse of hickory in our first enclosure, one of our males. And in the second enclosure, we'll be looking for Fez and his girlfriend Jillian. Right out here on the rocks, moving around. Look straight back there. He's going to turn around in a minute. And then we have Fez and Jillian at the base of the tree here. Fez is looking right at us, so you'll get a good look at those tusks coming right through the top of his nose, curving right back towards his face. Now, if you had a hard time spotting those baboons, I don't think you did, you're not going to miss the next animals on the tour, the Asian elephants. Then once again, everybody, please remain seated. We do need to keep noise to a minimum so we don't startle Patty and Maxine, our two Asian elephants. Now, Maxine's on the right, Patty's on the left. Maxine's slightly larger than Patty. That's how we know them apart. And they are the best of friends, never seen apart from one another. Now, elephants are the largest land mammals in the world, but unfortunately, they're also becoming one of the rarest. They can live up to 60 years in the wild. Patty and Maxine here are both in their mid-40s. Now, they can weigh up to 10,000 pounds apiece, and in addition to a variety of fruits and vegetables, they'll both eat up to 200 pounds of hay and drink up to 60 gallons of water every day. Now, those trunks you see are amazing tools. They're actually made up of over 40,000 muscles, which is more muscle than in the entire human body. And they have a little finger-like projection you might be able to see from here on the end of their trunks that they can use to manipulate objects. They can actually pick something up as small and fragile as an egg without breaking it, or they can wrap that trunk around a small tree and rip it out of the ground with tremendous force. Now, they are two pampered ladies here at the zoo. They do both get weekly baths and pedicures. Now we're going to say goodbye to Patty and Maxine and say hello to the next animal on our tour, the Indian rhinoceros. You're going to want to look right down in the water here. Excuse me. So we come around the corner, you're going to see Callie, one of our Indian rhinos. She's taking a little mud bath here, a little therapeutic mud bath. She's looking to the right. So as we come around, you'll see she's looking right at us, and she'll wiggle her ears, and you'll see the horn on the end of her nose here. Now, all rhino species are highly endangered, but it's estimated there's only about 2,000 Indian rhinos left in the wilds of India and Nepal. Now, we're lucky enough to care for 5 of these endangered animals right here at the Bronx Zoo. Now, caring for them is one thing, but breeding can be a huge challenge. Think about this, moms on the train. Just imagine you're pregnant for 16 months, and then when you give birth, your baby weighs between 100 and 150 pounds. So you're pregnant for a year and a half, and then your baby's roughly the size of a high school freshman. Well, youngsters stay with mom for 2 to 3 years, even though weaning might only take 12 to 16 months. Now, we've had 11 rhino births here at the Bronx Zoo since 1986. Callie was the first. She actually turns 30 years old this year. She weighs 3,500 pounds. She's a grandmother today, and she can run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. I don't know about you, but my grandma cannot run 30 miles per hour, so that's pretty impressive. Now, you might wonder why she's laying in the mud like that. A lot of people think rhinos have thick, tough skin that's almost armor-plated. That's not true at all. They're actually covered with a thin layer of very sensitive skin, highly susceptible to sunburn and insect bites. They roll around in a mud wallow like the one Callie was just in, or this one right here. This is the original that opened with the Wild Age Monroe back in 1977. And they get all nice and covered in mud, and that provides natural protection from the sun and from insect bites. Now, as I mentioned before, all rhino species are highly endangered, and I have more information for you about why.
The horn of a rhinoceros is very different from that of a goat or antelope. It is not attached to the skull. Rhino horn is made from compressed keratin fibers, the same material that is found in fingernails and hair. Although rhinos are a protected species, poaching still occurs. Rhinos are killed for their body parts, as some people believe that this horn had special medicinal powers. It is also used as an ingredient in some traditional Asian medicines, and the rhino horn is also prized in some cultures for making dagger handles.
Now, Asia is the continent with the largest number of deer species, and it's well known for its deer diversity. You're going to notice some animals coming up right here in front of us. Now, these large brown animals are the sambar deer. Now, a lot of little kids think they're reindeer. They do kind of resemble them a little bit, but they're actually the largest deer species in southern Asia. A mature male can stand up to 5 feet tall at the shoulder. They weigh up to 650 pounds and have antlers reaching 3 feet in length with 3 points on each bar. Now, you might also spot a couple more Indian muntjac deer in here. We do have 2 more running around here with these other guys. They're just going to see some little brown deer. These are the hog deer. They actually get their name because their body shape resembles that of a hog. But they also behave like hogs. They run low and they creep, and they'll go underneath obstacles instead of leaping over them like other deer species would do. You see some hog deer out there as we come over the fence line. Now, there's also going to be a medium-sized spotted deer out there. That's the Formosan Sika deer. We do have 3 of those out there. Now, what's unique about them is they're currently extinct in the wild. They became extinct back in the early 70s, in the wild that is, due to overhunting and loss of habitat. Now they are from the island of Taiwan, formerly known as Formosa, and they are trying to help them make a comeback there by reintroducing them into some of their national parks. Now these large animals that look like they're wearing black and white socks, these are the nilgai antelope. They're the largest antelope species in Asia. Nilgai means blue bull in Hindi. You might notice the male is to the right. He actually looks a little bluer in color than the females. That's how they get their name. And the males also have horns, whereas the females do not. Now this large black and white bird on the little creek bed here, this is a red-crowned crane native to Siberia. There's only about 3,000 of them left in the wild. They've been endangered since the early 70s. They're one of the largest and rarest of the 15 crane species in the world. They can stand up to 5 feet tall and have wingspans up to 7 feet. And in some cultures, they are a sign of fidelity and prosperity. Now here comes another Indian muntjac deer, just like the ones we saw by the shacks. Now another unique feature about the Indian muntjac deer, they have scent glands by their eyes that they can use to mark their territory. That is a full-grown animal right there. Now you guys are in for a rare treat. Look in this first corner as we cross the double fence line. These are full-grown Chinese tufted deer. They are adults. They weigh about 40 pounds fully grown. There's two. Now we hardly ever see one. We've got two right here. I have a third one coming up around the corner. These guys are extremely rare in zoos outside of China. Now an interesting feature about these animals is their upper teeth will grow longer than their lip, and it looks like they have fangs. So they're also called the vampire deer. And they do look like vampire fangs if you're close enough to see. There's a third one. Now I have a fourth one on top of the hill. She's actually moving away from us though. I don't know if we're going to be able to see her close enough. And a fifth one right here. I think this is the most I've seen at one point today. And again, we don't usually see, now there's 10 of them in there, so 5 of them are looking back at us while the other 5 are moving around. That's pretty good. Now, as we come around this next corner, we will be crossing back over the Bronx River at the highest point of our tour. We're going to be 35 feet above the water. The Wildlife Conservation Society realizes the importance of maintaining the Bronx River Corridor and Greenway. We want to make sure that this remains a healthy resource to be enjoyed by wildlife and Bronx residents alike. And as we come off the river on the other side here, we are entering some rocky terrain. This is the perfect habitat for 2 species of wild goats, the Himalayan tahr and the markhor. Now we're going to start to see the markhor down here. I got a mature male right at the base of this tree. They have horns that reach 5 feet in length. Now the markhor, here's one right here in the middle, our other 2 mature males. Look how long those horns are. Now these are the largest species of wild goat in the world. They're also the national animal of Pakistan. Now, the males will have horns reaching those 5-foot lengths as you see there, whereas females have horns that only reach up to about 10 inches in length. Now, their name, markhor, actually means snake eater in the Persian language, and the legend goes that a markhor long ago ate a snake, and that snake tried to escape by growing up out of its head, but it broke in half and turned to stone and created the 5-foot long horns you see on those mature males. Now that's a juvenile male that just stood up on top of the rock there. We also have 8 to 10 markhor babies out here, these little brown guys. So some of these little guys are going to grow up to look just like those big gray ones with big long horns over there. Now the darker brown goats you're going to see out here are the Himalayan tahr. Now both male and females have those short, curved, triangular shaped horns, and the way their horns grow backwards and then inwards from their head protects them from serious injury during headbutting battles that occur during mating season. So here's some more Himalayan tahr here.
It's the easiest question.
Now, another interesting note about those markhor, they can jump 6 feet straight up in the air without a running start. Now, y'all are in luck. The last animal of the tour, she's actually out now. Look right in these trees as we come around the corner. You're going to see Mei Mei, one of our red pandas. She's taking a little snooze right there on the branch. Now, people have long been fascinated with the color of the red panda's coat. And in Nepal, they actually call them hun ho, which roughly translated means firefox. Now, the red panda has been known to Western civilization for a far longer period of time than the more famous giant black and white panda. And today, we know that those 2 species aren't even related. Red pandas are more closely related to skunks, weasels, and raccoons. As a matter of fact, the only thing they have in common with a giant panda is the name panda, which means bamboo eater. Now, if you'd like to see some more red pandas, you can stop by the Himalayan Highlands today. It's just a short walk from the monorail station. We do have more red pandas there, along with some snow leopards. Now, as we come around this next corner, our journey has almost come to an end, but I would like to take a moment just to let you know a little bit more about us. The Wildlife Conservation Society manages 5 parks here in the New York City area. We have the Bronx Zoo right here, which is our world headquarters. And we also manage the New York Aquarium over on Coney Island, the Central Park Zoo, the Queens Zoo, and the Prospect Park Zoo. We also have scientists working out in the field at more than 300 locations in over 50 countries all around the world. They're all managed from right here at the Bronx Zoo. Now, if you'd like to help us save wildlife in wild places, we invite you to join the WCS. That membership will get you free entry to all 5 of our parks for an entire year. Plus, premium level members enjoy free Bronx Zoo rides.